So metabolic activity of the organ, correct? So if the metabolic activity of the organ is up, choose an organ for me. The liver. Okay. So big meal, metabolic activity of the liver is up, right? Breaking down and taking care of all the stuff in the liver. All right. So therefore, do you have vasodilation or vasorestriction?
Dilation.
Dilation. You bring more blood in. Yes, that's correct. So then we have vasodilation as a response. So you can write it down here on the side. Metabolic activity of the organ is up, right? So therefore you have vasodilation, which is down here, not up here. I'm pointing to the wrong direction. Okay, vasodilation. So this metabolic activity is going to give you different things. It's going to give you oxygen. So if it is vasodilation, we're going to put it right here, right? So metabolic activity, okay, is up. So therefore I have oxygen is down, right? And then when oxygen is down, then I have one of those things happening here, right? What do I have? For vasodilation to happen, to oxygen to be alveolar dilation in organ, one of those things are going to happen. You don't have to put all of them, obviously, because it will be too much. So oxygen is down, see, look, metabolic oxygen is down. So then we have osmolarity, adenosine, we have eicosanoids, bradykinin, substance releases urine, nitric oxide.
So
I would go ahead and choose nitric oxide.
I need to know what all those things do.
No, you do not.
Okay, so.
You do not. I explain things briefly here, but I explain that nitric oxide will cause vasodilation, yes.
So essentially we just choose one and then
You choose one and explain
the logic behind
the logic behind it, yes.
Okay.
So for example, I would go ahead and choose nitric oxide, and it's because nitric oxide is the easiest. And then you say nitric oxide causes vasodilation, right?
Okay.
And then you say blood flow returns to normal.
So, question.
Mm-hmm.
Can we just start and end our explanation entirely based off slide 70, or do we need that other slide as well?
You can do it here.
Just entirely off that, okay.
You can. But for example, but you would have to give it the explanation, right? So
Right.
for example, liver is in here. Now, how about vasoconstriction?
Vasoconstriction, you'd have that to peripheral.
Give me an example, a situation where you need to have vasoconstriction.
If your temperature is low.
Cold.
The temperature is low, right?
What if you have a cut and then the nitric oxide stops?
Okay, so then, so if you're bleeding, right? So if you're bleeding, you're going to have vasoconstriction, correct? All right. So then, what's going to happen here would be hemorrhage, right? And then you end up with vasoconstriction in that particular location, internal blood pressure, myogenic response, and then you have endothelin 1, which causes vasoconstriction. So again, the same way I chose nitric oxide, I would choose endothelin 1 because that directly can create vasoconstriction. Does that make sense?
So do we have to answer all three, like one out of all three controls
That's right.
for one question?
One question. And then neural control. So for example, if somebody's bleeding, what's going to be on? Would be sympathetic nervous system, or you have vasodilated neurons that release nitric oxide? Which
Sympathetic nervous system.
Sympathetic nervous system. But if it's the liver, it would be vasodilators. Does it make sense? Because they're dilated. Okay.
So that explanation would just be sympathetic nerves
Mm-hmm.
release vaso.
Yeah,
Constrictors?
sympathetic nerves release what, Anthony?
What was that?
Sympathetic nerves, what do they release for vasoconstriction? You just showed me 5 minutes ago. Sorry, I'm
Epinephrine.
pushing you.
Epinephrine.
So the sympathetic nervous system, epinephrine. So then you say sympathetic nervous system releases epinephrine.
And that would be that would cover your neural and hormonal, right?
Absolutely.
And then we can see like A and P down.
Yes, you
The
can,
last one.
you can do that, And then hormonal, if you have vasoconstriction, you have epinephrine as well. You can say vasopressin, you can explain that. Angiotensin 2, you cannot explain that yet because you're gonna see that on renal. So you cannot explain that yet. If you vasodilation, you can also use epinephrine, which is wonderful, right? And then you can use ANP as Anthony said, right? On the heart, you can explain that as well.
So really for hormonal controls, we can use epinephrine,
You can,
no matter what it is.
no matter what it is.
So it's freebie, right?
It's a freebie.
Okay, good.
But as long as you can explain, you have to explain why in the heck is epinephrine being released. So if the person is not in a situation of fight or flight, epinephrine is not there. Okay?
So say for local
So-
controls and you give us a scenario
Mm-hmm.
and you say everything's normal. So
Mhm.
we would be saying that it would be vasodilation because he has nitric oxide.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because if he is in the eating and sleeping mode, which is parasympathetic control, right? Ate a big meal, then it would be vasodilation.
Mhm.
Vasoconstriction will happen in the eating and sleeping kind of situation if I tell you he ate and sleep and give me the local control, because I'm gonna tell you the organ, remember I told you?
Mhm.
Okay, give me the control on the hands, why his hands are cold.
Okay.
Because what's being rerouted to.
That's
So-
right, so then you have vasoconstriction in the hands because the hands are cold, you know that, right? Yeah. So unless, if I tell you something like that, for example, he ate a big meal, but I'm asking you the hands or a different organ where there's no blood flow, in order for you to use vasoconstriction, it has to be an emergency situation.
Even if you said like, why is he eating sleepy? That would be.
Well, I would have to ask you specifically what is the local hormonal neural control in the brain.
Okay.
Yes? So I have to point to the organ. Because if
So
I'm
that would
asking,
be vasoconstriction.
that would be vasoconstriction, yes.
So how would you like it written on the exam? Just like
What do you mean?
local, then underneath you put.
I want this.
Oh.
So you want that drawing?
I want a
You
flow
want a
flow
chart.
chart.
Yeah, it can be, it is not gonna be like this, right? There's gonna be
Right.
one word, and then explanation attached to it.
Do we need to describe, say if it's a trauma scenario, do we need to describe hematocrit going down, therefore blood viscosity
You're
goes
gonna
down?
have to describe hematocrit no matter what.
No matter what.
Because hematocrit influences blood viscosity.
Right.
And I told you that you need the lymphatic system.
Right.
For that. In the case of Fred, it's a lot of blood viscosity because
It's hematocrites. Or...
of the amount of fat he's eating.
So his hematocrit would be.
Hematocrit will be the
Right.
same thing, but the blood viscosity is not influenced only by the hematocrit,
Okay.
but is directly influenced by the amount of fat he eats.
So what are the hematocrits influenced by?
Well, hematocrit is the amount of hemoglobin and the amount of red blood cells the person is having on the bloodstream.
Okay.
Now, if I tell you that Fred is anemic,
And it's low.
and then it will be low, so blood viscosity will go down. If I tell you that,
What if he's anemic but he eats like fatty foods?
so one thing balances the other, so there is
Yeah.
no effect,
Okay.
right?
What do we have? We'd have to like explain that.
You would have to explain that.
Okay.
It's about you being able to think outside the box and apply, because that's what you're gonna do as a provider.
Mm.
Okay?
So for somebody with a hemorrhage, does the go low hematocrit? Low red blood cell
Because you're
imaging.
bleeding.
Okay.
Yep.
And then low blood viscosity because there's a lot of blood loss.
No. So the fact that you have blood loss doesn't mean that your blood is less dense or more dense, right? The fact that you have blood loss doesn't mean anything
your
about the
volume.
viscosity. What determines the viscosity is what already is in your blood. What did you eat? Right?
So a smoker,
Mm.
that would be down.
The blood viscosity,
No.
the hematocrit?
Yes.
Yes, it would be down.
Wait, so for the
Why would it be down? Low in oxygen. So if you're low in oxygen, your blood is not producing enough hematocrit because you're not gathering in oxygen from the lungs. It's demand. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're breathing a lot, if you're a runner and don't smoke, and then you have lots and lots of red blood cells. But if you don't use oxygen, why are you gonna produce this much of red blood cells? That's the whole thing with the doping, right? Some people get blood transfusion on doping with people with a higher hematocrit count. So, did you know that?
No.
That's kind of crazy, but it's true. They get blood transfusion, athletes, right before an event, so they can increase the amount of red blood cells. So therefore, all the oxygen they're gonna breathe during the exercise is going to be able to be carried by a hemoglobin because you have more red blood cells now, all of a sudden.
can you even measure that to find out?
Yep.
Actually,
Yep.
If you take your hematocrit, you're gonna
Because-
flag, yeah.
Because they spot, right, it's a spot